Well guys, we're back this time with Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Well, I know it's been a while since this game came out, and I've been playing this game every single day. And I honestly wanted to take my maximum amount of time before I could just give you guys my honest opinions and my honest reviews on this Avatar Ubisoft game. So I decided, let me just sit back, enjoy the game, take my time, and complete all of the side activities and explore and take a look at what the game has to offer. And not just simply rush into the reviews of the game, because it seems like Ubisoft had put in a lot of work in this game, and apparently it does show in terms of how graphically amazing this game looks. Now, especially if you're someone that really loves James Cameron's Avatar movies, then I think this game is definitely a big jam for you guys. And if you really want to live that moment like Jake Sully running around flying in Akrons, shooting down arrows, guns blazing, and all the action-packed Avatar universe, it's just incredibly well done. But not everything seems as good as it sounds. There are a lot of things in this game that I absolutely did not like, but at the same time, I really gotta give props to Ubisoft for actually creating this open world, which just looks incredible. Every time I was playing this game, I really wanted to just stop by and take screenshots and take a look at how beautiful the entire open world looks. Alright, now that we have talking about all the introduction of the game, let's get right into the main review. Now basically, you start off this game as a custom created Navii character. You can choose between male and female versions, and you're basically going to be these generic characters like what we have seen with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where you're playing as one Eivor, which could be male and female. It's pretty much the same here, classic Ubisoft stuff. And the storyline goes like you're one of these Navii children, like not the ones that humans made, like the original Navii children, and apparently these humans have captured these Navii babies when they were very young. And you ended up growing in the RDA facility, and you later realized that the humans basically just captured you and were using you for their benefits. And that's when you decide to break out of the RDA camp and become a free spirit and finally regroup with your original Navii clan. Now this is where the main storyline starts, and you as a character have absolutely no idea whatsoever. You're pretty much just completely new to the entire Pandora open world. Neither are you aware of any of the Navii cultures that's out there, because you've been growing up with the humans, so you basically have no connections or whatsoever. So you're pretty much just introduced to all of these Navii cultures and the entire open world like you're seeing it for the very first time in the eyes of this character. Now that's something I really loved, because it kind of just made me feel like I am exploring the world as a brand new character. So I don't really know anything that I'm seeing around, so I'm trying to learn as the character gets to learn stuff. Now first off, one of the best things about this game is the nature and how beautifully well done the world designing is. And I've got to say, man, I have never played a game so far that actually has this dense of a forest, vegetation, and all this stuff just crammed in, and the PlayStation 5 was still able to run this game at 60 frames per second. Now yes, of course, a few times the frames did drop all the way to 30 frames per second in some of the places where it kind of seemed like there were a lot of different props, a lot of vegetations and crops. So in that aspect, I really did not have very high expectations for this game, especially since it was a first-person game. I really wanted to play an Avatar game, which was third-person perspective. So I went into this game with an open mindset, and I was not really that excited for this game or whatsoever. But to my surprise, I really did enjoy the way the world was designed, and especially the game actually has different types of hunting mechanisms where you can hunt all of the animals. You can hunt down humans, animals, and there are also different types of vegetation, plants that you can pretty much just harvest, and you get all of these different food, and you can cook food using the harvest that you took from all of these plants. And it's just incredible. The world is filled with a lot of intractable things that is around you in the environment. So that's something I really enjoyed, because every time I just keep walking around the jungle, you will actually come across so many different types of vegetations and plants that are super weird, like alien creatures, and you can pretty much just harvest different types of food items from those things, and you can take it it back to your camp, and there you can sit down and add in different recipes and cook a meal of your own created recipe. So that's something that I really did kind of enjoy, because every time I'm trying to mix match all the different ingredients, I wanted to see what really different comes out of it. Now obviously, like I said, one of the biggest reasons as to why I wanted to take my time in order to bring out this review for Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is because Ubisoft had given me this game before it even launched, like probably a couple days before the game officially was going to be released. And apparently there were a lot of bugs on the day one of the release of this game. So I really wanted to just hold back in terms of my review, because I was looking forward to Ubisoft releasing a new patch which could be fixing all of those bugs, because usually if I make a review, then it's basically going to stay there forever, and people in the future, whoever decides to buy the game, might end up watching my review and they might think that, well, this game is filled with bugs. So that's not something I wanted to do. I wanted to take my time and make sure that after the patch is released, after the game is completely fixed, test out the game and give you guys my honest opinion. And that is one of the biggest reasons as to why I wanted to wait this long. And yes, according to what I've expected, Ubisoft did release multiple patches, and a lot of different glitches and bugs in this game is now officially fixed. Although there are very few minor bugs, although I don't think it's really going to be bothering us. Alright, so now let's talk about the gameplay itself. One of the things I really loved about this game is how you can pretty much just run across the map, where the movement system is very fluid in some instances, but at the same time, since it's a first-person game, kind of just gets a little bit more overwhelming in my opinion. That's just my personal opinion. Some people might end up liking these first-person choices, but I'm not a huge fan of first-person, so I kind of felt like even though it was pretty smooth and fluid, I could have just preferred a third-person mode much better than first-person here. Now when it comes to all of the parkour system in this game, it kind of felt like you're playing Mirror's Edge. That is the closest comparison that I could do, because you can pretty much just jump anywhere you want, you can climb any tree you want, you can just do whatever you want. So it's very smooth in terms of how your character moves, and especially one of the best things that I really loved about this game is the mount. Oh my god, I just can't explain how good the Ikran feels, the Banshee or Ikran, whatever you guys want to call the dragon thing. So this thing, man, it just flies real good. The flying mechanism in this game is just absolutely amazing. I have played so many open world games like GTA and even some of the Battlefield games. I usually try to play with the aircraft most of the times, and trust me when I say this game honestly outdid every other game that I played in terms of all the flying mechanism. It was super fluid, it made you feel like you're actual Navii, you're playing as Jake Sully, and you're just flying across the map trying to take down the choppers, and you know, you can just glide all the way in. The flying mechanism in this game was really amazing. I absolutely loved it. I have no complaints or whatsoever, but one thing that really kind of pissed me off a little bit in this game is the dire horse. Like, the horse mechanism is absolutely trash. Comparing the horse mechanism with Assassin's Creed games, which is also a Ubisoft game. Now, of course, we know that when it comes to Ubisoft games, they're pretty bad when it comes to creating horse riding mechanisms. It's very basic or whatsoever. It doesn't feel like a AAA game at all. So it's pretty much the same here. It kind of feels even worse than what I felt with Assassin's Creed horse mechanics. They could have done better. Like, take a look at what Rockstar Games did with Red Dead Redemption. Like, that game actually felt really nice when it comes to horse gameplay mechanism. Now in this game, it kind of feels pretty much just gliding across the field. It doesn't feel like the horse is running. You don't feel the sprint of the horse at all. Even though I played it with haptic feedbacks on the PlayStation 5, it really wasn't worth it in my opinion. So that's something I think Ubisoft could have done better in this game. But apart from that, I'm pretty sure 90% of the time you're going to be using your Banshee, you're going to be flying around, and that's pretty much how you're going to be traversing through the entire open world. And that one thing, Ubisoft has just outdone themselves, and I'm really in love with this Banshee system. And I've also used the Banshee in order to take out enemies on the ground. So that was one of the best looking cinematic shots. Basically just playing around with this game. I tried to just take off in the sky and then dive right into one of the enemies and shoot arrows towards them, or you can even use the guns. Arrows is personally something I prefer in this game because it makes you feel like you're a badass Navii. So the encounters in the game, usually they're very boring when you're in the ground. It kind of felt very much like Far Cry game. It was 90% Far Cry and 10% it was pretty much just a new world that you're just trying to explore here because it's a game that is set in Pandora in the Avatar universe. But apart from this, it kind of felt like you're pretty much just playing a Far Cry game. But yeah, like I was saying, the encounters of enemies, the artifactions in this game, it was very annoying at some points, especially since the game is set in first-person perspective. I really did not enjoy how the encounters worked because there are only two types of enemies that you're going to be fighting in this game. One are the foot soldiers, and then comes the guys with the exosuit, the armor suit that you see in the movies, and then finally the choppers. That's pretty much it. There are no different enemy types or whatsoever, and that itself was pretty boring and it was kind of getting repetitive. But apart from this, the encounters in general itself was very chaotic in my opinion. It's most likely because the game is set in first-person mode, but apart from that, the stealth system also failed miserably in this game because for some reason all the enemies in the game are super eagle-eyed, and even if you peek a little bit behind a rock, the enemies are going to be noticing you and the snipers insta-kill you. Now obviously the enemies are bullet sponges and it kind of does feel like it, especially since they have the exosuit and all that stuff, so it kind of makes sense, I guess, in some sort of a way. But apart from this, I was not a huge fan of how the encounters in the combat system works in this game, especially only because it's in first-person game. So maybe if it was a third-person game, this could have been much better. Because the first Avatar game that Ubisoft themselves created back in 2009, that game was completely third-person perspective, and the combat system in that game was absolutely fantastic. It kind of felt like you're playing as a real Navii. The only thing that the game really lacked is that you can't really explore the open world as good as you could in this game. Now obviously this is a 2023 game and that was a 2009 game, so there's a lot of difference in the engine and all that stuff here. But whatever Ubisoft had done before in terms of third-person combat system, you could use the staff, there were different types of weapons, and there were different ways in which you could play the game. And in this right now, it just seems like you're very limited in terms of how the combat works. There are only two weapons you can use, the gun or the bow, and that's pretty much it. There's no other thing that you can do in the game apart from this. So me personally, I just love the 2009 Avatar game. Till this date, I still think that that old game is much better comparing that to Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. And the only reason why is because this game is first-person perspective, and especially when you're making a game like Avatar, when you're trying to show off the character is a Navii. You're not playing as a human, you're playing as a completely different species. You're an alien, and you want to be showing this alien off, so you have different skins, you have different outfits in this game that's available. And Ubisoft Store also has so many different outfits, and none of these outfits are going to be mattering at all in whatsoever ways because it's a first-person game. And I personally think that Ubisoft should have made the camera angle of first-person perspective because you can barely even see the hands of your own character. Like, come on, we're playing as a 10 feet tall Navii character here, and you can barely even see those long hands and legs. Come on, dude. Like, you could have done a better job in terms of how we could visualize our characters and look at our hands and see what kind of weapons we're holding in a much better way. That could have gone a long way ahead, but it seems like Ubisoft decided to just keep the camera very closer to the hands, and it kind of just makes it look very messy. And I personally am not a huge fan of games like these. But in my opinion, third-person perspective could have done a lot better, and I really loved flying around in the game, and also especially when you're running around the map using the dire horse, the camera angle automatically changes to third-person perspective when you are on some kind of a mount. So that is most likely why I even enjoyed that perspective of this game. But yeah, that's personal preference, I guess. Some people might love the first-person shooter games, some might not enjoy it when it comes to open world games like myself. Let me know in the comments what are your opinions about this game in general. But apart from this, the storyline was just amazing. It kind of felt like you're in this Navii world. But apart from this, the characters in the storyline will actually kind of have that emotional attachment to the players, but not really that much of a hit when it comes to emotional storylines. But it kind of is something better than nothing, if you know what I mean. But the game basically looks very cinematic. The cutscenes are done incredibly amazing. And my end verdict is that Ubisoft has done an incredible job. And I know a lot of people have been really worrying when it comes to Ubisoft games. A lot of people think that Ubisoft games are usually buggy. But this game, after all the latest patch, it has some very bare minimum bugs at this point. The game is completely playable. Nothing is going to be pissing you off. Trust me. I played this on the PS5. I've also tried out the PC version, and everything just looks absolutely flawless. So if you're someone that really loves James Cameron's Avatar movie, then this game is absolutely going to be one of the best choice of of this year. And even if you're not a big fan of Avatar movies, I think this game would honestly keep your time really passed on, because it's a well done game and Ubisoft has done a really good job with whatever they could, and I really appreciate that. And a big thanks to Ubisoft for once again giving me this review copy in order to provide you guys my honest reviews and opinions, so that you guys can make your own choice on whether or not if you should try this game out and think for yourself. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this small review that I really wanted to bring out to you guys. Let me know down below in the comments what are your thoughts and opinions about this game, and also did you guys already play Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, or you're still deciding on whether or not to buy this game? And if at all this video did help you guys make your decisions, let me know in the comments down below. Now with that being said, if you guys want to stay updated with all the latest and the greatest information, news, updates, gameplays, trailers, leaks, and all the stuff that you guys need about upcoming open world games, then this channel right here is going to be your one-stop shop. So make sure to go ahead, subscribe. It's absolutely free of cost. You don't have to pay a dime. And also you guys keep getting updated every single day about all the latest gaming news. So it's a win-win for me to grow the community. At the same time, you guys are going to stay updated. I really appreciate it if you guys could just go ahead, take your valuable time and drop a like on this video, because your like and support, it really means a lot to me. And making these videos, it takes a lot of effort and time to edit and record and all that stuff. So if you guys could just take a few seconds of your time to simply just leave a like, it really goes a long way, and it helps the channel, it helps the videos a lot more than you guys think. And yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Until then, take it easy fams, and goodbye.